Oh, well, this is a model kit that was old, that was sitting on a shelf for a long time. It's all dusty. It was a glue bomb. I had taken it apart. I'm going to do a restore on it. I restored the body, and I'm going to make a slot car out of it. But this is how dirty it is, the dust and dirt on the glass, and this is what it looked like. It was built probably in the 80s somewhere, set on the shelf. I'd gotten it on a lot. It was either from the slot track or was on eBay. I can't remember, but I had taken the stuff off of it I wanted. You can see all the dust and dirt on it. These are the wheels. It was in pretty bad shape. I mean, I guess you could say it's a barn find model kit, maybe, but it was built pretty nice for when it was built, I guess. You see all the dirt, all the critters that was living in it, probably. But this is all the stuff that I wouldn't be using in a slot car, but it's in my junk box now. Some of the stuff, but basically, I'm going to strip the body in the Purple Power floor cleaner, so it'll get rid of all the green paint. And I stripped the chrome in the Drano gel. Yeah, I'll end up painting it. Probably body color, or I might do it in black, or I could use some all clad and rechrome it. Some of the airbrush spray paints or rattle can spray paints you can get looks pretty good if you wanted to rechrome it, I guess. But I was just showing the different parts and pieces of it. So just waiting on the next segment with the tail lights and some of the reusable stuff. Once you clean it up, it'll be nice enough to reuse. Take a little bit of work, or I'll find another set of tail lights from another model kit or something. I got extra parts, so you can see the dents in the trunk from the glue. I guess some glues would melt the plastic or make it soft. So I was just showing you. It was pretty nice looking green color when it was cleaned up. Um, I didn't build this, so like I said, I've got it either in a bunch of old built bottles off of eBay or maybe from someone from the slot track. I don't remember. This was probably 7 or 8 years ago. I'd ran across this video, so I thought I would clip it all together. It's a 5-part series. I'm just going to make one video out of it in this go around and re-narrate, talking about what I did to this. So you see what it looked like when I start. So when the next segment comes up, you'll see it with the paint removed, and I'll talk about what I did to it at that point. But this is the beginning of the restoration. I believe it's a 71 Roadrunner. So if you don't skip to the end, but this is after I'd stripped it in the Purple Power. I'm just talking about the different pieces, and it's got I believe that's a shaker hood. The real cars had like a cable that you could open that up from inside the car. You can see the dents in the plastic and the body lines that weren't sanded off, before whoever built it painted it. I usually sand that stuff off. That's from when it was injected molded when they built the kit, or molded it rather. Some of the green's still on it. That's basically where the glue was. Like, I end up cleaning all that up. You'll see that later on in the video. But I have to fix all these dents in the plastic. So it's just like body work on a real car in a way. It's you just got to sand it or fill it with a little bit of putty. There's various different putties you can use. You can use model putty. There's various brands, or I'll use like actual car Bondo glaze spot putty or sometimes even real Bondo that you mix up because it's basically a plastic anyway. Or I'll make my own out of pieces of the sprue that you cut the model parts off of. You can melt it in acetone and make a glue out of it. But acetone's pretty hot, so you got to be careful with it. It'll make plastic soft, so you got to use it sparingly if you're using it for a body filler. Or well, you could use baking soda and super glue. You could make it that way, or model glue. You could. There's lots of different things you could use. So plenty of options. It's a pretty cool touch on the model car to have that. You could have it open or closed, depending on how you wanted to have it on your shelf, I guess, if you wanted to glue it or leave it where you could flip it up and down and make it move. Luckily, whoever built this just clipped it in there. They didn't glue that part down. But for a slot car, I guess you could stick it in the up position and glue it, with a little drop of glue, I guess, if you wanted to have it up, or glue it shut if you wanted to. Because I'll have to glue the hood on it, because that would fly off when you're racing it down the track. So, but dirty fingers from painting. I have an airbrush booth, so that's usually how I paint, either with rattle can or I'll mix up my own color if I want to mix my own, or use various things. I use actual car paint, like you can order from House of Color, or go up to the local auto parts store. Nowadays, you can pretty much order any paint code you want if you have the paint code, or well, if you're good enough at it, you can mix your own. I use acrylics, which water base, or urethanes, or enamels. Although enamels, you need warmer temperatures. It'll take a while to dry if it's too cold. And you want to be careful with certain activators because it's plastic, so you want to prime it. If you just spray like lacquers or something like that, it might melt the plastic model, or it'll craze or do weird, goofy things like a real paint job would do. It seems like black's the hardest color to paint to get smooth, even on a real car. You got to be you can't have any dust in it or anything or things like that. It'll make it look like crap, but it all depends on what you're doing. You can usually hide a lot of the boo-boos in the clear coat. Uh, but my booth, I usually once I spray something, I'll cover it over so it doesn't get any dust on it. It has pretty strong fans, so forget. I think it's like 1500 CFM. It's custom built booth. A friend of mine built a booth. I built my first one, and then we did some trade, and he built me a new one. But I have these brushless exhaust fans got from another friend of mine. They were for the marine industry, for a boat to dry out like the bilges, like if your boat gets wet, the bilge pump, because some boats leak a little bit or they'll get water, like if a wave splashes overboard. They move a lot of air. So I only needed one of them, but I have two on it just in case spray with a bigger gun, like a real car spray touch-up gun's about the biggest I would need. Be like spraying with a rattle can, I guess, for a model car. So uh, my airbrushes, I have quite a few. I mean, my Posh airbrush is probably the one I use the most. I can hold a pretty good amount of paint. It could more than enough to do one model body. I mean, you could paint quite a bit with those because they have like a little jar on them. And I have different size jars. I think I can hold up to an ounce of paint. This is the biggest jar I have, maybe 2 ounce. I'd have to go look. It's a good bit. So just looking over the body, talking about well, the original video. I'm talking about it now in this one, but just all the different little things I had to fix, like those dents, and cut off, some of the stuff on the underneath that caused that, which that's where the seat pan and the window would glued in. Whoever built it put a lot of glue on it and glue bombed it's what I call it. You don't need that much glue to hold anything in, drop or two. This is the Drano floor gel with the chrome parts. I had a couple different models. One of them, I forget what year it is. It's an old 50s Studebaker or something, or a Chevy. Like I was building a 1960 Starliner. I like that car. It's a really nice car. But you can see how the chrome cleaned up. It's just the white plastic. Like I'd mentioned in the other video, the way they do that in like when they're building the model kits and chroming parts that they would chrome, it's like an atomized aluminum, like the professionals. Like if you wanted to watch a video on how they do that, that's pretty neat. Like these here, once I wash that black off, it's like a resin part, like it's a older model kit or it was a resin model. Some models that I have were factory demo, dealer demos, so they had screws that held them in. That one that I have a hold of now was screwed together with like these little straight blade screws. Like I think that was like a dealer promo car or something, like the Christine car, maybe whatever year that car was. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but I'm just soaking those. Those are ready to come out. I'll just wash them off in the sink with a little bit of water and get rid of the Drano drain cleaner opener bleach stuff. You don't need very much, just enough to submerge the part in and swash it around. I usually put a lid on that stuff so I don't knock it over and spill it on me or on the floor or accidentally bleach your clothes or smell it because it's pretty strong. It's like a really concentrated bleach, basically, is what it is. It's meant to burn hair up and stuff that would be in your drain or would normally clog your drain. Most drains are clogged by stuff like that, like in your showers and stuff or your sink. Like, I guess men that shave and wash their face hair down the sink, or, well, I guess women that have long hair, like sometimes they'll have like a hairball in your drain, so you need to get that and it'll clean your drain, but there's other uses for it. So it's like a little tip if you're building model cars and want to strip chrome off of something or want to strip paint off. It'll strip paint off too, but I use the like I said before, the purple power. It's like a floor degreaser or a degreaser cleaner like spray 9 or well any kind of spray degreaser or stuff like that. Some people use household oven cleaner, but you can use brake fluid too, but you got to be careful with some of that. Brake fluid will remove paint, but you don't want to spill that on the side of your car. It'll tear the clear coat right off your car. So, and since I'm dealing with mostly plastic, I try to use like a plastic friendly solution. Things you can learn on the internet or you figure out or you try. But I usually get the gel because it's a little thicker. Believe it or not, I've spilled those before I started using the little container with a lid on it. And I usually use tweezers, but you could pluck it out with your fingers. I'll throw it in a paper towel and then go to the sink and rinse off the gel. And then if I have to sand on it or do anything before I would recoat it, whether I chrome it, there's a product called All Clad you can get. Can do all different kinds of colors. It'll look just like chrome when you're done. Um, so that's pretty much that as far as what's shown in the clip here currently. just the chrome parts that I was cleaning up. I do the rims later. I have some more videos to post about spray painting parts in the spray booth. I'll put those together and throw them up here, at some point. I just have to go through them and see which clips or which parts I want to pick. And rather than repost those same videos, I'll make a mixture of different things that I've done. But I've probably built a couple hundred slot cars in the course of when I was doing it. So I used to do it all the time. But since I don't race them anymore and I'm not really going to the tracks, I could still build them. But I've kind of lost contact with some of the people that were doing them. I don't even know if some of these people are around or race them anymore. But some of the folks that would come for special events, they traveled, from all over the place, hundreds of miles sometimes just to do a race. If the slot track was having something like that, like a national event. It's just like, well, most of them are probably real drag racers, and they do this in the winter months, to get their adrenaline rush in plastic rather than race their real car, or they do it in between. So it's kind of fun. But I turned the hobby into, well, a little bit of side money to pay for me doing the hobby. I'd build cars for people or paint them or, that kind of thing. Build chassis mostly, mount bodies, you know. Make well, anywhere from $10 to a couple hundred depending on what you were doing. I usually charge 25 or $35 to build a chassis and maybe another 5 or $10 to mount it to a body if they wanted it. But this is after I'd sprayed it in some primer. I'd used the AutoZone brand primer. I think it was Duralast. Was it Duralast paint? I can't remember. I'd have to go look at the can, but it was just regular automotive primer. I sprayed it through my airbrush, so, and I'd repaired the dents in the trunk. It's not sanded or anything. I was just showing that, it has more work to be done on it, but I had good luck with using that primer. And I'd remove those, well, the glue bomb parts because if I don't use the glass that was in it, I'll use well, either I'll get new glass or I can clean that glass up, and there's ways you can clean that up as well. You can wash it, or if it's scuffed, you can buff it out and polish it. But that's the front bumper there. I hadn't mounted it to the car or anything. It's still not painted. I was trying to decide if I wanted to do body color or do it in black. Um, some of the cars came that way where you could get I guess the chrome package or whatever Plymouth and Dodge did back then. I think they called it like a rally package or a race package. Like you could get the bumpers in black or chrome or body color. Or I uh, painted this one orange, and the center of the hood will be black. Always say the name wrong. I think they call it Hugger Orange or Hemi Orange. Was the Dodge car color. Like I've painted them that lime time green. I've also painted them, what was it, plum crazy or plum purple. It's a really nice purple, like what the actual cars would come in back then. You could get some pretty wild, bright colors, like almost fluorescent looking. But you'll see, I painted everything but the hood and the bumpers, I think, later on in the video here. But this is just in primer right now, so it needs sanded and before you paint it. It's got a little bit of orange peel on it, but not a whole lot. If you spray your paint a little bit wetter and maybe do one or two, three coats, real light coats, it turns out better than doing it all in one sitting. Because if you do get like a speck of something in it, sometimes the airbrush will spit or whatever, so you could sand it with like 400 or something. But here's uh, the car in paint. It still needs another coat, but it's not cleared or anything, so it's got a dull finish. And it's an older video, so it might look a little grainier than it was, but I have it on my little stand. It's got like little spring clips on it to hold against the outside of the body. And that's the grill. Eventually, I paint that black, but I don't know if I did it in this video or not. I don't think I did. This car is still sitting in a box, almost like you see it now. I had started to build. I built the chassis for it, and then I think I was getting ready to drill the holes and mount it before I painted it anymore. Because sometimes if you mess up when you drill, you got to do body work. So I try to do that before I paint it. But I was making video series, so I went ahead and shot some paint on this. But I had built the chassis, and before I had mounted it and pinned the body, I think that the wheelbase fit another car, and I ended up using it in that because it was ready to. I think I built it for a race coming up, and I robbed the chassis, so I'd have to build another chassis for this one. Like I built a lot of these type cars, Barracudas, Dusters, uh, you name it, I've probably built it. Like some pretty crazy stuff. I've done a lot of builds that other people didn't want to do. I did a drag racing slot car snowmobile for a guy. Um, Turned out pretty nice. Um, Trying to think of the name of that dragster that I did. I have videos of that. I'll have to show, or maybe I have pictures of it. I'll have to show that one. I have another one to build for the same guy. I got it in a box. It's a slip joint car, but that one's going to have a fixed chassis rather than a flexible one. But I can show you some of the dragsters. I'll have to charge my camera up and go in there and record some of the ones in the box. But here I was just playing with different wheels you could put on it. I'd set the body on some popsicle sticks to get the stance I was looking for. I think those wheels look pretty good on it with the fender flares and the way the body looks. These are nice looking cars. So I like the Roadrunners and the GTX. They're pretty much the same car, really. It's just like a trim package and motors, and I think that's the six pack hood, or the shaker hood. I would have to look. All the car fans are going to go, "Oh, you got it wrong." But I mean, I like cars, but if I could have that in the driveway, right, somebody'd probably hit it and then I'd cry. So, but it's a nice looking car. So, but that's just the potential of what you can do with like an old model if you want to take the time to clean it up and do stuff with it. People do it with all kinds of stuff, matchbox cars, die cast metal cars. Although I don't know if you'd make a slot car out of a die cast car, it'd be pretty heavy, but have a good one.